Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we're back again with another episode in how to defeat Ultron's Assault Variant 1. This time it's Chapter 3 Quest 1, and I'm sorry these are coming so kind of sparse because effectively to make a how to defeat episode I basically have to clear entire quest casually. However, so there are 6 paths, 3 on the left side, 3 on the right side. Nothing too complicated over there. Global node is masochism. That is pretty much everybody's favorite global node to have in a quest, so that alone will kind of require you to select your champions carefully and be able to play around it. So first things first, path number 1 has backup recovery on it. It is one of the easier paths. It's one of those paths where you don't even notice that backup recovery, but you do need to remember it, otherwise it's gonna catch you. So path number 2 would be called like Oscillate. Also that Sentinel has Degeneration, and that Sentinel is a really annoying opponent. But for most part you're gonna have to deal with Oscillate a lot in this quest, because you will have to take 4 fights with Oscillate whenever you clear the left side of the section. So it's going to be Hood, Corvus, this Mutant, Ultron Drone, and Proxima Midnight with Oscillate node on it 3 times whenever you go to the left side of the map. Now path number 3 would be Starburst node. There are only a couple of fights on Starburst before you kind of join together with Oscillate node. I think there are 2 or 3 fights with that. Now middle path, path number 4, is Poison. It's simple as that, Aspect of Evolution and Poison, so basically you will just need Poison immune characters there. And only troublesome fight on that path is Iceman, which we're going to take a look at later. Now, the right 2 paths both have Aspect of Chaos on it, so therefore we're going to barely mention them just because there are so many different ways how to cheese Aspect of Chaos with many different champions. I am going to show like a couple fights with Aspect of Chaos, but if you want to see more of it, you can take a look on my channel. There are several kind of cheese methods to deal with Aspect of Chaos wherever you find it. So first kind of annoying champion is Magic. So global node, masochism, backup recovery, and magic. So this magic is really stacked. In case you guys didn't know, Variant 1 has pretty much the most stacked opponents in game to date when it comes to attack power. They attacked are even higher than the ones of 6.2 and so on. So whenever she's going to trigger limbo, she's going to deal a whole lot of damage. Therefore you want to be able to deal with that limbo. We're going to be taking a couple ways how to deal with this magic. So first and obvious one is just use Quake. Ideally the Quake should be like rank 4 or above, and Suicides, just because there is masochism, so you will occasionally have to compete with masochism heal if you will not be charging your heavy attack when your aftershocks are about to expire. And so the bigger Quake the better, just because of masochism. However, you can still do it with a 4-star Quake. You can check out my streams where I was exploring entire Ultron's variant with 4 stars and rank 3 5 stars only. Quake can still do it, but it is much harder. Now we're going to be taking a look at Gladiator Hulk. So we all know that Gladiator Hulk is one of the MVPs of Ultron's Assault Chapter 3, and this is one of the reasons why, because he deals with the passive damage perfectly. So when it comes to stuff like magic, he is a really solid option to go to. And obviously as well, when you are going to see Starburst throughout this quest, he is one of the better options for Starburst. Additionally, he's poison immune, so he can take the poison path, and overall he's just like a solid kind of workhorse character when it comes to Ultron's Assault variant, just because he will save you a lot of potions if you do not have like different appropriate counters. And so we are taking some damage from Magic's Limbo, obviously, but it is not that drastic that we wouldn't be able to survive it, because any regular champion would be long dead at this point, like, because you can survive only like a couple of Limbos even with a maxed out 5-star. And so pretty much once again, this entire quest is either you have good counters for the trouble nodes, or you're gonna have to spend a lot of potions to deal with stuff like this magic, for instance. But here we can see that she is nearly down. We are pushing her. We have lost quite a bit of health, but we are still kicking, and that is still better than majority of the champions would do. So we finished off the fight at 77 hits with a level 2. And now another option to deal with that magic is just a flat out simple Corvus Glaive. Now with Corvus, it's basically simple. For a lot of this quest, you will want to learn how to play Corvus with like 1% health and hitting opponents block a lot before you run out of charges. Because Corvus is also one of the better answers for stuff like Degeneration, Starburst, damage over time nodes and stuff like that, just because while you have at least one glaive charge on you, means you can't die from damage over time debuffs. That means you are kind of like forced to try and kill opponents before you run out of glaive charges. So in order to do that, you will want to hit opponent's block a lot, kind of play conservatively, save your glaive charges, and just dish out as much damage as you can. Now, Corvus is fantastic for a vast majority of the stuff in Chapter 3. However, he does greatly benefit from boosts and cosmic power boosts in order to be able to deal with his fights easier. If you do not feel like boosting, you better learn how to hit opponent's block consistently and prolong these fights without running out of glaive charges. So as we can see here, Magic's at 30%. We have been at 1% for a really long time, and we will still be able to take her down, just chipping away at her block. And obviously once you get more charges, more missions completed, it's going to be much easier with Corvus. However, still you do need to be accustomed to this playstyle where you do a lot of kind of backdraft intercepts, hit opponent's block a lot, and finish off the fights without spending all your glaive charges. Now, also on back recovery path, we have a couple of annoying fights like Dormammu and like Juggernaut. So against Dormammu, your main goal is basically just not to trigger buffs on yourself and use champions that don't trigger buffs. And there are many kind of good options, just wanted to pre-warn you guys. Also, do remember that backup recovery, because you do not want to block Dormammu's level 2. Although, if you are using Captain America, you can still do it. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. However, not many characters can deal with that massive block damage. So we are making a couple of slip-ups in this fight. I'm not going to be playing perfect throughout this video by no means. However, Cap is still dealing just fine when it comes to this Dormammu. He's nearly at 3 bars of power, so we have to make sure he throws his level 2. And because we're Cap, we have high block proficiency, we can glance, and we're not going to take that much damage. Other options that are good for this fight are stuff like Red Hulk, Quake, She-Hulk, and so on. Basically, you just need to make sure you don't trigger the degeneration, and you either can out-damage or deal with that masochism node. But as we can see here, we just closed out the fight. It wasn't the cleanest fight, however, it wasn't anything too tragic, so Cap can deal with that Dormammu just fine. And now we're going to be taking a look at that Juggernaut. Now, Juggernaut is obviously, as always, an annoying defender, especially when paired with masochism. So you have like kind of contend with that heal as well. And once again, like Captain America Infinity War obviously can deal with his unstoppable, therefore he would be a good counter. Quake is amazing counter for this fight, as well as She-Hulk, because She-Hulk can absolutely destroy any opponent's kind of unstoppable abilities just with her heavy attack. And how frequently we can apply that slow debuff basically makes sure that we can pretty much ignore the masochism. Also, Juggernaut is an extra large champion, therefore She-Hulk is having a super easy time to keep her furies up. And yeah, so it is pretty much a cakewalk for She-Hulk. Also, if your She-Hulk isn't rank 5, don't worry, because once again, it doesn't really matter, because as soon as you get situated, you're not going to be blocking, you're not going to be parrying, and you're not going to be taking any chip damage. So even like a rank 3 5-star will work just fine in this fight without any problem whatsoever. It's just going to take a few more hits. And now we're going to move on to the next fight. And next we are in Starburst lane. So for this fight, once again, I'm going to showcase Corvus and the idea of playing him whilst striking opponent's blocks and basically dealing with opponent before running out of your glaive charges. Obviously, when it comes to Starburst, Gladiator Hulk is a great help. He deals with all of that stuff extremely well, and he also leaves you quite a bit of room for error, so he's fairly user-friendly. However, if you do not have a big Gladiator Hulk, then Corvus will be your second best option. Aside from that, those two champions, you pretty much would have to just take that Starburst damage. And if you don't have Corvus, if you don't have Gladiator Hulk, then you just want anyone that hits the hardest, and you're just gonna have to heal them up, eat the potions, eat the revives, and that's about it. But yeah, if you have Corvus, you can casually just play him on 1% throughout all of these Starburst, Degen, Poison Lane, so on and so forth, because he will not go down. And here's going to be another good example against Degeneration. So this is like a debuff Degeneration, and Gladiator Hulk does not work against it. So because of it, there are very few good counters. Once again, your best options are either just take in flat out damage character and consume the potions and revive and heal, or you can take in Corvus, and you can play Corvus in a matter that I have been showing throughout this video, where you basically largely rely on striking opponent's block, playing as conservatively as you can with your charges, because the moment your charges expire, you will die. So once again, what you want to be doing is you want to be careful with your combos. You want to do 1-2 hit combos, and you want to hit opponent's block a lot, and you want to slowly wear them down, then drop a big level 2 to finish off the fight, and that is pretty much it. Do not go like full hit combos, do not get careless, do not get too aggressive. With Corvus here, you really need to be careful. Obviously, if you max boost, if you cosmic power boosts, then you can just play Corvus as normal for most part. But if you do not want to be constantly boosting and using your cosmic boosts, then I do suggest that you play extremely kind of conservative with Corvus. And now it's a simple fight on a poison lane, just to show that poison fights are fairly easy. There is nothing really difficult aside from one Iceman on that path. And even though it has aspect of evolution on it, so basically you just want to make sure you bring in your strongest poison immune champions and kill opponents before they have had a chance to fill their power bars too many times, because then they will continuously gain power faster, you will crit less, and the longer the fight takes, the worse it kind of becomes for you. But yeah, so take your hardest hitting poison immunes and you're gonna be fine. Once again, a good way to deal with that Iceman. And I think I'm starting to sound like a broken violin here or something, I don't know. But Corvus works well against that Iceman. So even though Corvus isn't poison immune, you will play him at 1%. He is not gonna die from poison damage as long as you have at least one glaive charge. He also will not die from cold snap damage. Well, number one, because he doesn't take any damage from cold snap, and number two is because he can't die from damage over time debuffs so long as he has at least one charge active on him. So one of the better options for this Iceman, in fact, is Corvus, and so he is one of the better options also for this poison lane, ironically, without being poison immune. If you are able to play Corvus kind of very carefully without relying on parries, obviously because it's masochism and because you can't afford any chip damage, and you need to learn how to strike opponent's block. So it was super easy with Corvus, and it will also save you a lot of potions. However, just to demonstrate how strong is that Iceman's cold snap, we're going to be taking in a duped 6-star, and we're gonna check out how little health we are left with once the cold snap has expired. Now, I will accidentally take a level 1 in the block, but still, you can take my word for it, for a fact that if you bring in rank 3 champions, all of them will die unless you have like large health boost on. So if you do not have anybody that can do this fight, then you will need like large health potions with your rank 3s, because your rank 3s won't survive that cold snap damage. This is a potion hungry fight, especially because if you do mess up in the middle of the fight, you're gonna have to heal all the way back up. There's gonna be no just a reviving, unless you're using Corvus, obviously. But yeah, so that cold snap damage is quite brutal, so you do want a fairly big poison immune character that is also able to deal with masochism at the same time, or just not trigger it, I suppose. But yeah, that Iceman fight itself is not too difficult. There's nothing overly crazy about it. It's just that initial cold snap, you need to be able to survive it. If you are using rank 3 5-stars or 4-stars that are maxed out, you will die from it. It's as simple as that. But so long as you can survive it with at least a couple of % health, the fight itself is fairly easy and you can bring it home. The most important thing there is to be careful not to kind of like lose mid-fight and then have to go back in and heal up all the way. And now the right 2 path. The right 2 path, how simple aspect of chaos on. You can use a multitude of options to cheese aspect of chaos. You can use Hela, you can use Heimdall synergy, you can use Hela and Angel synergy, you can use Corvus, and as simple as that. So your plan basically is let opponent hit at you till you are at 1% health, and then as soon as health bars switch, you just want to land a couple of strikes on opponent, and that's it. You win the fight. You can do these 2 lanes probably in like 10 minutes together combined. So once again, we're going against Magic just to see that this kind of works from fight to fight. We do stall a bit at the beginning of the fight, and then we let her do a combo on us, bring us down to 1%. We do need to make sure that we have at least a glaive charge remaining. Then we landed one hit on magic and the fight was over, and that is a 4-star Corvus that is doing this. There are, once again, several videos on my channel where I'm doing this with like Quake, Hela, any champion, and Heimdall synergy, and so on and so forth. So it's like super easy. So if you are looking for an easy completion path, either of the right side path will be just fine. You can do them in a couple of minutes without using any items, and that is super easy time completing this quest. Now exploration, obviously, as we saw, will be more difficult. And now it's gonna be time to check out a couple of boss fights. Whoops, never mind. Before the boss fight, we're gonna be taking a look at Oscillate Corvus. You will have to fight this guy like 3 times. At least I think 3 times, and he is the more annoying of the Oscillate fights, just because you are unable to take pretty much any block damage, and that attack boost combined with Corvus guaranteed crits basically make sure you can't take pretty much any hits in a block or they're gonna hurt real bad. So the better ways to deal with this guy typically are Quake, for instance. Quake can deal with this fight fairly easily, and She-Hulk would be great for it, but other than that, you just need to kind of learn how to play around Oscillate. Now, Oscillate is a node that we can see more and more being thrown in pretty much all the type of content recently. What you need to know is that he's going to be super aggressive while the Fury is on. You can always pretty much safely do dash back intercepts because he's going to always try and dash back at you. And once the armor phase goes up, typically he's going to be super passive, and you do kind of need to be careful there. You can't rush it. You do need to check his like power meter, because even in armor phase he will occasionally throw his special attacks, so on and so forth. So that kind of forces you to pause the game out. Now Oscillate, for me, I find that node quite annoying, to be honest, but you will have to kind of learn how to fight against that node. You can use any champion to deal with it, just you need to play well against it, especially when you're dealing with Corvus. Now we're taking a look at Ultron Boss. So this boss has basically the same node that 546 Labyrinth Ultron has when you're exploring Act 5. Basically, it has all of those buffs circling around randomly in passive. When you inflict debuff on him, those buffs activate. They include regeneration, power gain, armor up, and fury buffs. Also, additionally, he has force of will, so you can't negate his ability accuracy, and you also have masochism to deal with and limber. So now one great option for this boss is She-Hulk. What you want to do is She-Hulk, you want to get to your first level 2 ideally, and then you can just spam your buffs freely, because if he gets regeneration, you're reversing that regen. If he gets power gain, you're reversing that power gain. Additionally, spamming slow debuffs on him kind of prevents him from evading, and that is going to make the fight super easy. So as you can see, She-Hulk can be super aggressive in this fight and have a fantastic time. Now you do need to be careful when he gets power gain buffs, and we're going to see why, because he's going to wreck me with like 5% left, because then he's going to drop below bar of power, and if he's below bar of power, he can't refresh your furies, and it can just kind of mess up your rhythm, and that isn't going to work out all that well for me here. So he's at 11%, and I'm about to get wrecked just because my Petrify is about to wear off. He gets to a special attack, and I got hit in the face with his level 2. But yeah, so we nearly took him down there. Also, another great option for this dude is Corvus. And once again, you kind of need to change your playstyle. You do not want to rely on your parries. You do not want to debuff him whatsoever. You want to land in kind of like your clean cut hits. You do need to be careful of his evade, unless you have a evade mission with Proxy Midnight, which is also a good idea to take in. If you have space on your team, do take in that Proxima for Corvus. This Ultron fight will be a lot easier. Other than that, our strategy is as it was before. We just kind of want to hit his block a lot. We don't want to run out of charges, and we want to drop some level 2. We do not want to debuff him, so he can't access that power gain or regeneration. And overall, we just need to be kind of like super careful in this fight. Now, without Corvus, there are plenty of good options for this fight. Your main kind of like thing to look for is that you do not debuff him. So champions like Red Hulk is pretty much perfect for this. Angela would be pretty much perfect for this as well. So yeah, If you can play without trying to parry him, or without accidentally parrying him, without putting debuffs on him throughout your regular fight, and obviously just to be able to close out the fight faster, you do want to be hitting as hard as possible. And that's about it. This boss isn't really kind of overly complicated. Just don't debuff him, damage him as much as you can, and that's about it. Be careful of evade. And I will mess up somewhere here and then, just because we started the fight with pretty much no health, and we only had, well, we do have 3 missions now, so that's cool. So you will mess up eventually on these Ultrons, because that evade will catch you. The point is that you just want to be dealing as much damage as you can with any champion without debuffing him. So we're gonna mess up in this fight in a second. I think I also clipped it a bit short, and then we can just go in and finish it off with any champion that hits reasonably hard. So once again, Red Hulk, Angela are like fantastic options alongside Chorus. Now Medusa can kind of be used, but it's like really tricky, so I do not suggest it. Also Void technically can be used, but it really relies on RNG, so I do not suggest running Void. Better options is just a clean plain fight with high damage dealing champions that do not debuff your opponent. As we can see, Red Hulk perfectly fits that description. We are playing carefully. We're doing 4-hit combos, not to overextend, not to get caught by that evade. We are trying to bait out his heavy attacks. If he just evaded, we did finish off a combo with a special attack just to gain some more damage. If there is a fight that I have not covered and you're struggling with, do check out my live streams on that channel. We did explore this quest with 4 stars and rank 3 5-star champions. But aside from that, I think I'm pretty much done for today. I have showed more or less what I wanted to show you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you will find this useful. If you do, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that bell icon to stay notified, share to your friends, share to your alliance mates, make sure they can benefit from these videos as well as you. And that will be me out for today. See you guys, have a nice day.